Hello, good day. Welcome back to Coding with Verl. This is episode 8, and we're going to be talking about GoProxy. And this is going to be the last episode in this series on Go module and workspaces. Before we get in, if you don't mind and you like the material and you're back, please make sure you're subscribed by hitting the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know when I post videos. And at the end of the video, if you like what you see, please give the video a thumbs up or leave a comment. All right, thanks, and let's get in. So this is the modules reference, and I've been using this as sort of a guide of like places to jump in and what to touch on. And so we cover, the bit about module packages and versions, and some of the command in Go mod. We did Go workspaces in the previous video, episode 7, and we talked about directives while we were talking about, the Go work and Go mod command and the file that governs them, which is the go.mod and the go.work file. And we talk about minimal version selection, why that's important and how it works. And so now I want to talk about module cache. Now, when talking about module cache, I'm going to end up talking about GoProxy, and not so much the proxy protocol, but just there's a variable called GoProxy, but you'll see what I mean. It's quite a bit, and there's a lot here that we didn't cover specifically, but we sort of hit on most major sections. So to show you what the issue is and why you might need to set up your own proxy, let's go read what this module cache is about. So it says, the module cache is the directory where the Go command stores downloaded modules files. The module cache is distinct from the build cache, which contains compile packages and other build artifacts. So those are the output, but the module cache is sort of, you could take input before you do the build. The default location of the module cache is defined by this Go path variable, then package.mod. To use a different location, then you can set this variable called Go mod cache. Now, if you don't know about the Go variables, environmental variables, if you just do Go env and enter, you'll see all the environmental variables that govern Go or Go uses. Now, you can just type Go command, and you see it says environmental variables here. And you can just type env. And then if you do Go env -h, for example, you'll see that you can change a variable, you can spit out the list of variables that were set using JSON, or you can update a variable, or you can write a new value to that variable. So writing a new value is just -w, the variable name, space, and the value. And same thing if you want to update it. And of course, if you want to remove it, you could just write the variable with no value, and that essentially removes it. Let's clean up and let's go back to the documentation. So continue on, you'll see it says the module cache has no maximum size, and the Go command does not remove its contents automatically. So if you ever find that you run out of space in your computer, maybe you might want to see how big the module cache is. But generally, I don't think it's something you need to worry about. The cache may be shared. This is important. The cache may be shared. This module cache may be shared by multiple Go projects developed on the same machine. I want you to keep this in mind. If the project is being developed on the same machine and you're using a module that's already downloaded in the cache, then it can be shared. The Go command will use the same cache regardless of the location of the main module. So multiple instances of the Go command may safely access the module cache, yada, 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 da-da. The Go command creates module source file and directories in the cache with read-only permission, making it hard for you to remove it, unfortunately, with the rm command. But if you do want to clean it up, you can say Go clean and specify -mod cache. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because this video will be very long otherwise. So let's go to writing some code. So here I am on my directory. I'm going to create a episode 8 directory. I'm going to cd into episode 8, and I'm going to start my VS Codium editor. The first application I want to create is going to be app1/main-go. Let me start off by making a go.mod file in this directory. So I'll put module and let's just call it awesome. And then I'll create in this directory a main.go. Very simple program. So notice this is sort of unknown. I need to download it. So what I'll do is I'll drag my Go mod file and put it just below here. And so now I will see when I do tidy, it happened kind of fast, but when I downloaded it. So this means that I can now go run my program and it should work. So if I change to the app1 directory and I do go run main, sure enough, it prints out a UUID. Remember, this is downloaded. We know it's downloaded because if we go back to the documentation, it says that in my go path / package mod directory is where the module cache directory is. And specifically, it's in the cache download directory. Just clean up and I go to CD. I wanted to go to my go package directory. And if we do ls, we'll see there's a cache directory and then this github.com directory. Now, it says that this directory that has a version module at version has the extracted content, right, of the .zip. So to understand what that is, and we shouldn't spend too much time on this, is if we go to cache, right, and then we go to download, and then if you look, you'll see I have this some database. We don't care about that. GitHub is the only thing. And then as you can see, the only thing I have downloaded, because I could tap through it, is this UUID package from Google and GitHub repo. And so if we look in this directory, we'll see that that's the zip or compressed version with the hash and all this other stuff, right? But where is this directory? So this is in the cache download module at list. This is this directory. And then it tells you all those other things are version.mod, which we see. But this directory is somewhere else. So what we have to do is if we do cd again, but instead of going into the cache directory, we go to github.com, and then when we do ls, we'll see Google. And so we go into Google, and then we do ls, and now we see UUID and version. So this is now that extracted content of that file we just looked at. And if we go into that directory now, we'll see there's the extracted content. Whereas in the previous directory, we just saw the compressed files. Okay, so now we know how all that stuff is downloaded. All that stuff is good. I just wanted to show you that where you can see it. You don't really need to go into this directory and mess with anything. All right, so what now? What is the problem really? Well, let me just disconnect from the internet. So you can see I'm turning off Wi-Fi. And now I want to create a second application. So let's say I'm happy with this application. I know I use UUID. I download it. And based on the documentation for Go module, it says, hey, once you have something in the module cache, you can use this same cache directory on the same machine from any other directory. So let's test that. So I do app2, and I'm going to again do go.mod. I'm going to create another module here. Let's just call it module something. And let me just move module something to be side by side with this guy. And then I am going to create a main.go, another main.go. So main.go, and let's move this to be side by side with this guy. And so now let's write some code really quickly. And notice how it imported the same exact module because it has information about it on my system, right? Whereas before, it didn't even try to import it because it knew nothing about where UID would come from. But now it does. It has somewhat that it has that information on my system. So why doesn't it go ahead and just use it instead of sort of still giving me this wiggly line here? So let's do this. Let's run go mod tidy. And notice the error message I have. It says that go please, which is the thing that's trying to do go mod tidy, cannot find this module, on github.com, it can't find this module because it's trying to hit this proxy that go along with that. Now, why is it trying to go to this proxy? It has it on the information. It's still there on the file system. I can look at it right here. It's right here. So what is going on? So So even though Go has the contents of this module on the system, because I'm trying to use it, it's saying, hey, I want to go see what version is available. And then if the version is available, the latest version, because it didn't specify version, is available, it would check the hash of that version from the GoProxy and then check the hash on my system. And if they're the same, it knows that, oh, nothing has been modified and it doesn't need to download anything. And so then it would use the version on my system without having to download anything. But it needs to go to that proxy to get that checksum number. Well, we didn't talk about the checksum, but here's the checksum, right? It's inside of this file. So let's see if I could put this down below here. Yes, right? So this checksum file is the one that has like this hash, so that our Go module knows how to validate that this is indeed version 6 and it wasn't tampered with. Now, what if I copy this line over here? So we know it's not working. I tried doing tidy and it did not work, which means if I went to my program directory here, and let's say I went back for application 2, I do go run, it's not gonna work. And again, go mod tidy or download, whatever you want. If you can do tidy again, you get the same error message. You can do download. Of course, you can't download because, there's anything to download as far as I can see. So that's why download doesn't work. But tidy would have fixed it up. So if I paste this here, now I can say download, and well, it returned immediately because it's like, I don't really have anything to download. It also created the ghost.sum file. And this shows that it had enough information about the hash and so on to create the file. And so now my program can actually run. But I had to copy explicitly by hand. I had to say, use this version that I already have on my system. Now, even if I didn't say tidy and I went and actually do the go run command, it would have worked. And that happened because my checksum file got updated and all that stuff. It only took a minute with the go tidy command to basically make sure that the UI got updated. But it would have worked once I put this in. It sees that, oh, this is on my system, and it would have worked. So now my go run command will work. And so I can reuse this module that's on my system, and notice I didn't need internet. I'm still offline. So what is the problem? The problem is that I had to manually update my Go mod file to say which version I'm using, keep track of, make sure it's always the version that I have on my computer. If I had multiple versions of this UUID on my computer, I'll have to go in this directory, go back up one, list them, and see, oh, I should use a UID 1.7 or something. So why do all of that? Why didn't this automatically update? Well, I told you why. It's because it needed to go to the proxy to fetch this checksum to make sure that the checksum on GoProxy is valid and against the one that I have locally. So how do I get around this? So I'm going to show you a solution, which is what this video is really about, how to run your own proxy and why you might need it. So let's go here to our Go module directory. And what I'll do is I'll go back up one and let's clear things out. And I'll just say, let's watch changes in this directory. And so that's, cache download and all that stuff. We looked at that before. And I'll just say go mod clean and let clean my module cache. So that should take away everything. So now I won't have those files downloaded. Now, what I'll do is, since I'm already here in my example2 directory, what I'm going to do is actually remove the GoSum file, this checksum file. And on top of that, and my module cache directory is getting populated again for some reason, but I'll take care of that in a minute. And when it comes to my second Go program, I'll just remove, well, this is going to get a bit confusing, but let's do it anyway. So yeah, let me remove this. So, and I'll do the same here. For example one, I'll remove the checksum for example one also. So I have no checksum directory. And so once again, let's clean out our cache. There are a couple of proxies out there that you can run. And one of them is called GoProxy. And you can go to this GitHub project and read all about it, and I tell you how to run it directly or how to run it from Docker and that sort of thing. I basically took this Docker command and decided to run it inside a Docker compose file. So if you open this up, you'll see Docker run, I took this Docker command and turned it to Docker compose, and it tells you how to set up your GoProxy environmental variable. Now, where's that coming from? Well, if you go back here to the docs and you scroll down a bit, you'll come to all these Go environmental variables, which I showed you before, but here's the documentation for what they do. And you'll see there's this one here called GoProxy. And it says GoProxy URLs may have the schema HTTPS, HTTP, or file. If a URL has no scheme, HTTPS is assumed. A module cache may be used directly. So you can see we can actually refer to our module cache directory, which would be the go environment command asking for this module cache, would give you the location of your module cache. We'll say it's a file, and the cache download directory, which we looked at before, and that can also be used directly. So we don't want to do that. The default for GoProxy is this: to go to the proxy.golang.org and try to download modules there. And if it can't download it, then try to go directly to wherever you're referring to. But notice the first place is try to go look up stuff is at GoProxy, and then it goes to GitHub or whatever, wherever you're trying to think. And the difference between the comma versus a pipe, you can read the difference here. But this is the default value. And so if I go here and I do go env GoProxy, you see what mine is the default value. But I can change that. And so you'll see me change in a minute. But first, I want to run my GoProxy. So let's do bat docker compose. This is what my YAML file look like for docker compose. And so I'll do docker compose, and I'll say up -d. Now, notice that I have my restart to set to always. That's because I want to always have this container running. And I have that set to always because I have Docker set to always start when I log in. And so I'm always going to have my own local proxy running. So I never have to think about it. So, all right, so let's bring it up. And now let's go back to, and let's, by the way, just do Docker compose, and I'll do logs -f to tail the log file here. And what I'll do is, since I'm again in application 2, if you remember, right now, none of these would work because if I do go run main 2, it says that I need to download this module, and it's not on my file system and it doesn't know about it. So since I have my proxy running, the only thing left for me to do is to make sure that I set my go command or to environmental variable to tell them to use this go mod proxy. Now I can do export go mod proxy instead of value, or I can simply say go env, and then I can write a proxy value. So that w -w is to write. I want to do HTTP, I want to do localhost, and I am running my proxy on port 2080. And so if I do that, and then now this is pointing to my local proxy, let's clean up. If I do go mod tidy, it should then connect to my proxy, which it did. And it says, oh, failed to list because it did not have that thing. Then it went and fetched it. I don't know why it's still saying failed to list here, invalid, but it eventually downloaded it, right? So if I do that again, it's there. All right, so now I can run my program, go run, and my program should run just fine. All right, so now I'll go offline because that's the thing we want to simulate, is that after you've done some project where you've used some modules and so on, it's in your local proxy. Now you can go offline. Remember, it's here locally too, but unless you point to this directory as your proxy, what's going to happen is still going to try and go online using the default proxy to validate the checksum. And that's where it fails. And then you have to tell it explicitly that, oh, by the way, I do have UUID version 1.6, use it. So, but we don't want to do that. We want things to just work as normal as if we always have a proxy. So I'm going to go to application 1 directory, And if you recall that I've already removed the checksum from application 1, and in my Go module file, I also remove that I'm using, which version of this module. So if I go here and I run go mod tidy, notice how it says, running. Now, what I didn't show is that I had to restart my VS, my editor, because when you start up, it read the environmental variable, and the default is, of course, it reads the one that you currently have. So when I first started this up, it was using the Go the proxy, that Golang, blah, blah, blah. But then I had to restart it so that it picks up this new environmental variable. And if you look here, you'll see that, it actually connected, failed to get the list, but notice how it successfully populated this file, even though it says like fail to get it from this location. But that's because it tried to reach out there, but it just said, oh, I have it. So if I do now go run, you'll see my program works just fine. And that is essentially why you would want to run your own proxy. So hopefully this helped you out. Put a comment below letting me know if you plan to use your own local proxy. And with that said, take care. Thanks for watching the video, and see you in the next time.